Cubital fossa. Arm is that part of upper limb which extends from the shoulder joint to the elbow joint. Skeleton of the arm is formed by a single bone humerus. The deep fascia of the arm extends in the form of medial and lateral intermuscular septa, which divides the arm into anterior compartment or front of arm and posterior compartment or back of arm. Surface landmarks. Greater tubercle of humerus can be felt just below the acromion process of scapula, deep to the deltoid muscle. It is the most lateral bony point of shoulder. Medial epicondyle of humerus is the prominent bony projection on the medial side of the elbow. The prominence increases when we flex the elbow. Similarly, on the lateral side of the elbow, we can feel lateral epicondyle. Lateral epicondyle is less prominent when compared to the medial epicondyle. Traced upwards from the epicondyles, one can palpate medial and lateral supracondylar ridges. Deltoid muscle forms the rounded contour of the shoulder. Biceps brachii muscle forms a conspicuous elevation on the front of arm. The muscle becomes more prominent on flexing the elbow. Brachial artery pulsations can be felt in front of bend of elbow just medial to biceps brachii tendon. Ulnar nerve can be rolled in the posterior surface of the medial epicondyle. Front of arm. Front of arm is also known as anterior compartment or flexor compartment of arm. It contains muscles, nerves, vessels. Muscles. There are three muscles in the front of arm, namely coracobrachialis, biceps brachii, and brachialis. Coracobrachialis. Origin. This muscle, coracobrachialis, arises from the tip of the coracoid process of the scapula. It shares common origin along with the short head of biceps brachii. Insertion. It inserts into the middle 5 cm of the medial border of the humerus. Nerve supply. Muscular cutaneous nerve which passes through the coracobrachialis muscle. Action. It is a weak flexor of the shoulder joint. There are numerous changes that takes place at the level of insertion of the coracobrachialis. Bone. Humerus has circular shaft above the level of insertion. Below, it becomes triangular. Facial septa. Medial and lateral intermuscular septa are more prominent and well defined below this level. Muscles. Deltoid is inserted at this level. Origin of brachialis and medial head of triceps brachii occurs at this level. Arteries. Brachial artery passes from medial side of arm to the anterior part. Profunda brachii artery runs in the spiral groove. Superior ulnar collateral artery, branch of brachial artery, pierces the medial intermuscular septum. Nutrient artery enters humerus at this level. Veins. Basilic vein pierces deep fascia. Venae comitans of brachial artery unite with basilic veins to form axillary vein. Nerves. Median nerve crosses the brachial artery from lateral to the medial side. Ulnar nerve pierces the medial intermuscular septum along with the superior ulnar collateral artery. Radial nerve pierces lateral intermuscular septum and enters anterior compartment from posterior compartment. Medial cutaneous nerve of arm and forearm pierces deep fascia. Biceps brachii. Origin. It has two heads of origin, hence the name biceps. Bi means two and ceps means heads. The short head arises along with coracobrachialis from the tip of the coracoid process of the scapula. The speciality of origin of long head is it is intracapsular in nature. It arises from the supraglenoid tubercle of the scapula and from the glenoidal labrum. Insertion. The tendon of long head of biceps brachii pierces the capsule of the shoulder joint, passes beneath the transverse humeral ligament to enter the bicipital groove or intertubercular sulcus. It unites with the short head, forms a fusiform belly. The united muscle forms a tendon which crosses the elbow joint and inserts into the posterior rough part of the radial tuberosity. Tendon is separated from the anterior part of radial tuberosity by a bursa. In addition to this, the tendon gives an extension known as bicipital aponeurosis, which joins with the deep fascia of the forearm and extends to posterior border of the ulna. Nerve supply. Muscular cutaneous nerve. Actions. It is a powerful supinator muscle of the forearm. It works best when the forearm is flexed. Screwing movements are done by this muscle. It flexes the elbow. The short head flexes the shoulder joint. Long head prevents upwards displacement of the head of the humerus during movements of shoulder joint. Brachialis. Origin. Brachialis muscle arises from the lower half of the humerus. It arises from both anteromedial and anterolateral surfaces and also from the anterior border of the humerus. Few fibers originate from adjacent medial and lateral intermuscular septa. Insertion. Tendon of brachialis inserts into the rough anterior surface of the coronoid process and ulnar tuberosity. Nerve supply. It is a hybrid muscle with dual nerve supply. Musculocutaneous nerve gives motor branches. Radial nerve gives proprioceptive fibers. Action. It is the chief flexor of elbow joint. Musculocutaneous nerve. It is the principal nerve of the anterior compartment of arm. It supplies all the three muscles of the front of arm and continues as lateral cutaneous nerve of the forearm below the elbow joint. Musculocutaneous nerve is a branch of the lateral cord of brachial plexus. It has a root value of C5, C6, C7. It arises in the lower part of the axilla where it is related. Anteriorly to pectoralis major muscle. Medially to axillary artery and lateral root of median nerve. Posteriorly to subscapularis. Laterally to coracobrachialis muscle. It enters the arm and pierces the coracobrachialis muscle. Then it runs between brachialis muscle and biceps brachii muscle, runs downwards and laterally and reaches the lateral side of the biceps brachii tendon. Just above the elbow, it pierces the deep fascia, becomes superficial, and continues as lateral cutaneous nerve of forearm. Branches. Musculocutaneous nerve provides muscular branches to the coracobrachialis, biceps brachii, and brachialis muscle. The lateral cutaneous branch of the musculocutaneous nerve supplies skin over the lateral side of the forearm from elbow to wrist. It gives branches to the elbow joint and shoulder joint. Lateral cutaneous nerve communicates with the superficial branch of the radial nerve, posterior cutaneous nerve of forearm, and palmar cutaneous branch of the median nerve. Brachial artery. Axillary artery continues as brachial artery at the lower border of the teres major. The brachial artery extends from this lower border of teres major to the front of the elbow, where it terminates by dividing into ulnar and radial artery at the level of the neck of the radius. Origin. Brachial artery is continuation of axillary artery. Course. Brachial artery runs downwards and laterally in the front of the arm. crosses the elbow joint, enters the cubital fossa. Termination terminates at the level of the neck of radius by dividing into ulnar and radial artery. Relations. Brachial artery is superficial throughout its extent. It is accompanied by a pair of venae comitants. In the middle of the arm, it is crossed anteriorly by the median nerve, which crosses the artery from lateral to medial side. In front of the elbow, it is covered by the bicipital aponeurosis, which separates it from the median cubital vein. Posteriorly, it is related to triceps brachii, radial nerve, and profunda brachii artery. Medially, it is related to ulnar nerve and basilic vein in the upper part. In the lower part, it is related to the median nerve. Laterally, it is related to the coracobrachialis, biceps brachii, and median nerve in the upper part. And at the level of the elbow, it is related to the biceps brachii tendon. Branches. Muscular branches. Profunda brachii artery arises below the teres major and it accompanies the radial nerve. Superior ulnar collateral artery arises in the upper part of the arm and accompanies the ulnar nerve. Takes part in anastomosis around elbow joint. Nutrient artery to the humerus. Inferior ulnar collateral artery arises in the lower part of the arm, takes part in anastomosis around elbow joint. Terminal branches, radial and ulnar arteries. Median nerve. Median nerve passes lateral to the brachial artery in the upper part of the arm. In the middle of the arm, it crosses the artery from lateral to medial side and runs downwards towards the elbow. In the arm, median nerve gives the branch to the pronator teres muscle and provides vascular branches to the brachial artery. It also gives an articular branch to the elbow joint. Ulnar nerve. Ulnar nerve accompanies the medial side of the brachial artery till the level of insertion of coracobrachialis. Then it pierces the medial intermuscular septum and enters the posterior compartment of the arm. The lower part of the ulnar nerve is accompanied by the superior ulnar collateral artery. It enters the forearm by passing behind the medial epicondyle of the humerus where it can be palpated. Radial nerve. Radial nerve lies posterior to the brachial artery. It leaves the artery by entering the spinal groove along with the profunda brachii artery. The nerve makes a reappearance in the lower part of anterior compartment where it lies between brachialis and brachioradialis and extensor carpi radialis longus. It gives proprioceptive branches to the brachialis muscle.